You thought it was over. Well, think again. You're in for a wild ride, and Jupiter is about to prove you wrong. Most people have been waiting patiently for the day that Jupiter finally goes direct, and now here we are. Yes, opportunities will open up, but so will consequences. Everything that was brewing beneath the surface is rising fast because what's really happening? The training wheels are coming off. The safety net is gone. But the truth, this is for your own good, and only a few people realize that. Most people will look at this as a negative experience, but those who are spiritually attuned already know this is far beyond that. Think of Jupiter retrograde as a giant cosmic dam holding back the full force of fate, and now that dam has just broken. Everything that was delayed, everything that was hidden, it's all rushing in at once. Pay attention because not everyone is ready for what's coming next. You thought you had more time. Think again. During retrograde, Jupiter gave you a grace period, a time where the universe wasn't cashing in on your mistakes, a time where your actions, good or bad, were suspended, almost like an invisible force field protecting you from instant consequences. But now that protection is gone. Every choice you made in the past few months, every risk, every lie, every shortcut, it's all coming back. Shocking reversals, betrayals, unexpected consequences. You'll see them unfold in ways you never saw coming. People who thought they got away with something, they won't. People who ignored their intuition, they're about to regret it. And the ones who played dirty, oh, they're in for a rude awakening. And the craziest part, this is just the beginning. Your dreams were guiding you. Now they're warning you. During Jupiter's retrograde, your dreams weren't just dreams. They were messages, whispers from the universe, showing you signs, hidden truths, paths you were meant to take. Some people saw symbols of transformation. Others received cryptic guidance. But now that door has swung wide open, and something else is stepping through. Dreams are shifting. What once felt like peaceful insights are now turning dark, unsettling. Vivid faces you don't recognize, places you've never been, sensations that linger even after you wake up. People are waking up in cold sweats, feeling like they've just lived through something real, and maybe they have. When Jupiter was in retrograde, the veil was thin, but now the shadows are stepping forward. And it's not just meaningless fear. These dreams are pushing up repressed emotions, unhealed wounds, things you thought you had buried. Shadow work is no longer optional. It's staring you in the face at 3 a.m. The subconscious doesn't ask for permission anymore. It's forcing you to see what you've ignored. Some are even reporting prophetic dreams, glimpses of events before they happen, flashes of people they haven't met yet. If this is happening to you, pay attention because Jupiter may have stopped hiding the truth. But what's being revealed now is not always easy to handle. And the real question is, are you ready to face what's next? Jupiter gave you the gift, now it's time to pay the price. Jupiter is the great benefactor, the planet of expansion, abundance, luck. It gives, but here's the part no one talks about. Jupiter doesn't just give freely, there's always a cost. And now that it's direct, it's time to settle the tab. Maybe an opportunity fell into your lap. Maybe things just worked out without much effort. But if you didn't use that energy wisely, if you took shortcuts, if you got too comfortable, if you wasted what was given, Jupiter is coming to collect. Sudden financial hits, deals falling through, money mysteriously disappearing. But it's not just about wealth, it's about energy. Did you take people for granted? Did you make promises you didn't keep? Did you owe someone spiritually or emotionally? That debt is due, and this time, there's no avoiding it. Jupiter is generous, but it is not easily forgiving. And the scariest part? Some people don't even realize they're in debt until it's too late. You thought you were safe? Think again. Jupiter's retrograde acted like a buffer, a cosmic shield slowing things down, keeping outside energies at bay. But now that shield is gone. The moment Jupiter stationed direct, it was like an invisible force field disappeared, leaving you wide open to everything. Every frequency, every vibration, every emotional wave you thought you had under control. Have you been feeling drained for no reason? Like you just woke up, but somehow you're already exhausted? That's because your aura is absorbing everything. Other people's emotions, collective fear, even unseen forces. Some are experiencing random mood swings, bursting into tears without warning, or feeling deep agitation that has no obvious source. Jupiter isn't just expanding abundance, it's expanding everything. The good, the bad, and the things you weren't prepared for. When your energy field is wide open, you're not just feeling your own energy, you're picking up on shifts in the entire collective. It's like standing in the middle of a storm with no umbrella. You don't even realize what's seeping into your field until it's already inside. Everything you thought you were, it's about to crumble. Jupiter is the planet of expansion, but what happens when it shifts your identity? Your entire sense of self suddenly feels like an illusion. Things you once cared about, they feel pointless. Goals you fought for, why did you even want them? The person you thought you were, you don't recognize them anymore. People are waking up with a hollow feeling, like they're watching their own life from the outside, like something snapped and now nothing makes sense anymore. This isn't just a mood, this is an ego death, a sudden collapse of everything you once believed about yourself. Jupiter doesn't just bring growth, it brings rebirth. But first it has to burn everything down. And for many, this process is terrifying because if you're not who you thought you were, then who are you? That's the part no one talks about. The in-between, the void, where nothing makes sense but you can't go back to who you were before. You thought Jupiter was finally delivering your blessings? Think again. For weeks, maybe months, you've been waiting for this moment. Jupiter's retrograde had you feeling stuck, like everything was in limbo, paused, delayed. So now that it's finally moving forward, everything should start flowing, right? Wrong. Instead of the breakthroughs you expected, it feels like everything is going in reverse. Your dreams seem to be slipping away, not coming closer. That perfect job you envisioned, not happening. That relationship you were manifesting, it feels more distant than ever. Even money seems to be flowing in the wrong direction. It's like the universe isn't listening, or worse, like it's playing some kind of twisted joke. But this isn't a joke, it's a test. Because Jupiter doesn't give handouts, it gives lessons disguised as obstacles. You don't get the rewards first, you get the experience that forces you to become the person who can actually handle those rewards. And that requires discomfort. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. Think about it. If you asked for financial abundance, the first thing Jupiter will do is test your relationship with lack. If you wanted love, it will show you why you've been blocking it all along. If you wanted a new path in life, it might burn down the old one first. And if you panic, if you start questioning everything and doubting yourself, you fail the test before you even realize you're in one. The trick is understanding that it isn't the final result. This is the shakeup, the recalibration, the uncomfortable middle ground before the real shift happens. The universe needs to strip away whatever's still standing in the way, and if that means temporarily making things look worse, then so be it. But here's what most people don't realize. This period is where most manifestations actually die. Not because they weren't meant to happen, but because people give up too soon. The moment things get difficult, they assume it's not meant for them. They stop believing. They walk away from what was already unfolding. The ones who trust the process, who hold steady even when it all looks wrong, those are the ones who win. So the question isn't whether your manifestations are coming. They are. You're just going about your day and suddenly, bam, your brain hits you with a memory you never asked for. Something you said in high school. A moment where you weren't your best self. A decision that, at the time, seemed small, but now it haunts you. It doesn't stop at embarrassment either. It grows. That awkward moment turns into something darker. Regret, shame, even full-blown guilt. One thought leads to another, and suddenly you're emotionally reliving situations from years ago. Jupiter isn't just expanding your external reality, it's expanding your internal truth. And if there's something unresolved, it's coming for you now. This isn't a coincidence. Jupiter is the planet of wisdom, expansion, and yes, karma. And now that it's direct, it's forcing you to look at the unfinished business you've been avoiding. Maybe you brushed it off before. Maybe you convinced yourself it didn't matter anymore. But energy doesn't disappear, it just waits. And now Jupiter's making sure you see it. This can feel overwhelming. The weight of your past choices, your past self, pressing down all at once. But before you drown in the spiral, ask yourself, is this guilt actually serving me? Because guilt, when it lingers too long, turns into self-punishment. And Jupiter doesn't want you to suffer. It wants you to understand you're not meant to carry the past. You're meant to learn from it and move on. So what do? You face it, not by wallowing, but by acknowledging. Maybe that means making amends. Maybe that means forgiving yourself. Maybe that means finally releasing the belief that you should have done better, when in reality, you were just doing your best at the time. And if you don't do this, if you ignore it, Jupiter will find a way to make sure you face it in the physical world instead. Not everyone is going to pass this. Jupiter retrograde was the training ground. But now it's game time. The universe is watching, and not in some vague symbolic way. Number every choice, every reaction, every decision you make in the next few days is sending out a clear message about what you're ready for and what you're not. And here's the truth most people don't want to hear. This is where many will fail without even realizing it. They'll fall for the bait, the illusion, the impulse to act out of fear. Maybe it's jumping into something they know isn't right just because they're impatient. Maybe it's chasing something that's already collapsing instead of letting it go. Maybe it's convincing themselves that they're fine, that they've figured it all out, while ignoring the very test Jupiter placed right in front of them. And those who don't see it, they'll wonder months from now why nothing changed, why they feel stuck, why their manifestations feel like they're just out of reach. Jupiter isn't punishing anyone. It's filtering, separating those who truly learned from the ones who are just pretending. And the ones who pass, they aren't the loudest, the flashiest, or the ones trying to force things into place. They're the ones who understand that patience is power, that trust is currency, that right now isn't about pushing, it's about aligning. The thing about this test is, it doesn't announce itself. It shows up in moments. A choice you make without thinking. A situation that pushes your buttons in just the right way. A trigger that resurfaces, tempting you to fall into old habits. And before you even realize it, you've either passed or you've locked yourself into another cycle of delay. If you're still watching, I'd like to thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed the content and want to see more, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Your support is very appreciated. Feel free to share your experiences or thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, take care and subscribe for more insightful content.